Code Explain says hi. So today we're going to create our projects menu. This is rendered using a component called projects. We have here our project component to render each project. We have here add new project component. So when you click on that button, you can add a new project. And when you click on edit button here, we had the number of to-dos in each project. And instead we show our edit button to edit the name of our project or to remove the project. So let's go and see how to create this. Our project component is going to be almost the same as our calendar we have seen in the last part. So we have here a function called project, so a component. Then we return some JSX. We're going to wrap everything inside a div with the class name projects. Inside we have a header and then we have some items there, our projects. So let's talk first about the header and then talk about the items or rendering the project. Now in the header here we have a title and buttons. So in the header we're going to need a div with the class name title with an icon palette here. And then the title project. Now at the bottom here we have these buttons here. So we have this edit button, and then we have our add new project, and then our carrot up or this arrow icon. Now inside our add new project component, we're gonna show this plus icon. Now for our edit button, when I close the menu, we hide this button or the edit button, the pencil, because there is nothing to edit. So I will go and create a constant or a state for my menu here. So I'm gonna call it show menu. So by default the menu is shown, so it's gonna be true. So when I click on this one here, it's gonna be false, and then the menu is gonna be closed. So I want to show this only when the show menu is true. So I'm gonna go and use some curly braces because I'm gonna type in some JavaScript inside HTML, and then I'm gonna use my state show menu. And so if this is true, we show this. If this is false, we're not gonna show the icon. Also, when I have no project, so the menu is open here, it's not closed, but we have no project. For our projects are going to be in an array. Every project is an object. So if this project here has no items in there, no projects, so the projects.length of the array here is going to be equal to 0. So I want to show the edit button only if this is not equal to 0, only if the projects array is not empty. So I'm going to say project.length is greater than 0 and then show the pencil or the edit button. Also, when I click on this edit button here, you can see that we toggle between the number of to-dos and the buttons edit and remove to remove the project. So I need some state here, so I'm going to go and create a constant called edit, and I'm going to set it to false. You can see also that when I click on this button, it turns to green. So I need to set the color of this icon based on the edit here. So I'm gonna go and say constant pencil color. If the edit here is true, if it's true, then I'm gonna use a green color, else I'm gonna use a black color. So this is a ternary operator. Then I'm gonna put that here, so the color equals, I'm gonna open the curly braces because this is JavaScript, and then use pencil color from here. So now whenever my edit changes, the color of my pencil also is gonna change. And now we need to change the edit value from false to true. When I click on this button here, so we need an onClick event here, and this is gonna run the set edit here, this function here, to change the edit value. So I'm gonna change edit to not edit whenever I click on this. So if it was false, it's gonna be set to true. If it was true, it's gonna be set to false. So that's it for the header. Now let's go and talk how to render our projects. Now for our projects here are going to be saved inside an array. Every project is an object with an ID, a name, and number of to-dos, the number we show here. The projects array here for now, we're gonna just type in all these by ourselves, but later on in our project we're gonna get this project from our database. So let's go and use a map here. So inside our items we're gonna use a map to map over all the projects inside our projects array, and then for every project we're going to render that project using our project component. The project component here needs some props. It's going to be a key and then our project, so this object here, and also the edit variable here. So the project component needs when to show these icons here or when to show the number of to-dos. So we need this edit here in our project, so we're gonna pass this as a prop to the component project. Now let's go and talk about our project component. So we're gonna need a function called project, and then here we're gonna return some JSX. We are going to wrap everything inside a div with the class name project. The first thing is the name of the project. So here our project component receives the project as props. Then I'm gonna go and destructure my props object to get the project here, just the project, and then inside I'm gonna use a div with the class name and then a project.name. So if you remember, our project is an object where the property name is the name of our project. And then at the bottom here is gonna be our buttons. When I click on the edit button here, I can show either the number of to-dos or the two buttons edit and delete. So I will need to grab the edit here also, and then what's gonna go inside our div here, it's gonna be like this. It's gonna be some JavaScript. So then I'm gonna use a ternary operator. So if the edit is true, I'm gonna show the pencil and the X. I'm gonna show these two buttons here, the edit and the X button. So if it's true, I'm gonna show these two, the edit and delete button. If it's not, else, I'm gonna show the total or the number of to-dos. Now if the number of to-dos is 0, as you can see here for the project other, we're not gonna show nothing. So I'm gonna need another ternary operator here. I'm gonna go and say project.number of to-dos, this property here. If it's equal to 0, if it's 0, I'm gonna show an empty string, else I'm gonna show the number of to-dos. So that's it for the logic part. Let's go now and see this in action. Now before we start, we need the files from our from the last part, the part 7. Go and copy the link and then paste it in downgit and click download. Once you download this, you need to go inside your folder and then run npm install, and then you're good to go. If you have all the files, go and open your text editor. So inside my project component, I'm gonna create a div with the class name header, and then inside it's gonna be a div with the class name title. I'm gonna need an icon here. I'm gonna import that from React Bootstrap icons. The size is gonna be 18 pixels, and then a p tag that says projects. I'm gonna hit save, and you can see those there. Now at the bottom here, it's gonna be a div with the class name buttons for our buttons. The first button is gonna be the pencil, so to edit our projects. The size is gonna be 15 pixels, and then it's gonna be our carried up, or the button to close the menu. So now here it's gonna be our add new project. I'm gonna go into our add new project and then show only the icon. So we still need to do some work here, but for now I'm gonna just show the icon, so the plus icon. So I'm gonna grab that from React Bootstrap icons. The pixels or the size is gonna be 20 pixels. Now I'm gonna close that, and if I save, you can see the plus icon there. Now I'm gonna go and create some state here. It's gonna be the show menu, and then set show menu, and the menu is by default set to true, shown. I'm gonna go, and now here I'm gonna add some JavaScript. So I'm gonna show the pencil only if the show menu is set to true. If I save, I get some errors here. I'm gonna go and edit this to use state. I had a typo there. The use state is not defined because I didn't import it from React, and that's good now. So if this is false, now you can see that the pencil is gone, and if it's true, it's there. Now I'm gonna go and create my projects array. Remember, these projects, we're gonna get it from our database, but for now we're just gonna create this manually. So it has 3 properties: the ID, the name, and the number of to-dos. So I'm gonna go and type in some data there. Doesn't matter what you type in there. So I created 3 projects. Now here we also need to hide the projects or the pencil if the projects.length is equal to 0. So when it's empty here, we don't show the pencil at all, or the edit icon. So now we need another state for edit. So when I click on that button there, I need to edit my project. So the pencil color depends on the edit. So if edit is true, I'm gonna set the color of the pencil to a green color. Instead, if it's false, it's gonna be a black. So here I'm gonna say color equals some curly braces pencil color, and then here I'm gonna add an unclick event, so to change the state of our edit. So I'm gonna set edit to edit or to not edit, so the opposite. So if it's false, it's gonna be true. If it's true, it's gonna be false. So now as I click, you can see that the color of the button changes, and that means that everything is working. Now for the class name is gonna be here, and here it's gonna be arrow, just for when I type in some CSS. Now I'm gonna add another div with the items to render all the project from my projects array. So I'm gonna use map, and then for every project I will need to use the project component, and then the project here needs some props. The project itself, it's an object. The project is an object. The key here is going to be the project.id, and we need to pass in also the edit state. So now inside our project, let's go. So we're finished for our projects component. I will need here a div with the class name to show the name of the project. So it's going to be project.name, and then we're going to destructure the props object. So this is going to be project, and you can see the names of all the projects. Here it must be dev. Now I'm going to go and render the buttons and the number of to-dos. So for the class name is going to be edit delete. So, and then I'm going to show the total to-dos or the number of to-dos. So here the number of to-dos is going to be project.num of to-dos. And if I save, you can see them there. And then here we need some icons, pencil with the size of 13. The same is going to be for our delete button. It's going to be an X circle, so it's going to be 13 pixels. And if I hit save, you can see all of those there. So now I need to use a ternary operator. So if edit is true, then I'm going to show the delete and edit buttons. I need to wrap this inside my curly braces. Now if I save here and I click on the edit button, you can see that I toggle between the number of to-dos and the buttons. I still need to show the number of to-dos only if it's not 0. So I'm gonna say if it's 0, return false or an empty string. If it's not, return the number of to-dos. I'm gonna add some class names here, edit and delete. And now let's go and style our project menu. So I'm gonna go now and add some padding to my projects. So it must be projects. And I'm gonna go and add a border bottom of 1 pixel solid and AB for the color. Then for the header, it's gonna be display as flex, and I'm gonna align item center. And then for the title, it's gonna be a display flex also, and then I'm gonna align item center. Then I'm gonna set flex to 1 to take the whole space. Now for the title or for the p tag, the margin left is gonna be 5 pixels, and then the font size is gonna be 1.1 rems, and then for the font weight it's gonna be bold. Now for the buttons, I need to display this as a flex, and then align items center. And I'm gonna just grab these from the calendar because it's gonna be the same thing when I hover over the buttons. Then here for the span edit, I'm gonna need to add some margins, margin right, and I'm gonna set it to 5 pixels. Now I will need to style the items. So I'm gonna add some paddings there, 0.5 rems. Now let's add the styles for the project, for every single project. So display is gonna be flex, align items center, and then some padding of 0.25 rems, and then a margin of 5 pixels. And now I'm gonna set the font size to 1 rem. Now for the name of the project, it's gonna be, the cursor is gonna be pointer, so I can click on the project, and then for word break I'm gonna use break all. Then the project buttons here is gonna be display flex, so I need to show those first. So flex, and then I'm gonna align items center. Now I'm gonna go and style the to-dos or the total to-dos. So the position is gonna be absolute, so I need to make this relative. So it's gonna be relative to the project. I'm gonna set right to 0, so I need them to be at the far right. The background is gonna be this color here, and then the width is gonna be 25 pixels. The same for the height, 25 pixels. And now I'm gonna set the font size to 0.9 rem. Now I'm gonna display this as a flex, so I'm gonna center this vertically and then center it horizontally. Now I need to use some border radius, so 50%, and then I'm gonna add some styles to my edit and delete buttons. So I'm gonna also set this position to absolute and then right to 0, and then display this as a flex. Now let's go and style the span tag. So I'm just gonna go and grab these from here. So, and then I'm gonna use add some transitions. So when I hover over the buttons, I'm gonna change the background with ease and out from the color they have now to the color, or to a green color for the edit button, and a red color for the delete button. So that's it for this part. I hope you enjoyed it. Take care. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe, and do whatever you can do to support me. See you in the next part. Take care.